diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest, and it's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning, with beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest, and it's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference.
Welcome to the Sanitary Board meeting for February. If you could please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could do the roll call.
Member Gore,
Here.
Mayor Bonta,
Here.
Member McAlpine, Attorney Elwood.
Did you guys have a chance to look at the minutes, and is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes from January 9th.
You hold it down like this, yeah.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. And then we have a public hearing, sanitary district resolution number 1. Tracy, I believe that's been being moved. Is that right?
Postponed to the next meeting. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So due to some timing issues, we're going to postpone that to the following meeting.
Yes, our financial, Tom from the bond council asked us to postpone that until the next meeting.
Thank you. And while you're up there, do you want to do the staff
My
report?
reports, yes. So there isn't much going on in the plant. It's winter time. We haven't had any freezing or anything like that. The clarifiers are working great, and we haven't had any issues. We're fully staffed, so everything's good with that. There's been no violations. We're also, what else are we doing? The guys are working, so many conferences come at this time, so they get a lot of their CEUs, their education points at this time. So February and March, we're going to be attending a lot of different conferences for education. So I'm going to be taking a lot of different operators to different things so that they can continue their education. But besides that, everything else of the plant's been great. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. And then, Dan, would you like to come up?
Evening. I don't know if anybody's been by Dombey Street in 20 and looked at the lift station over there, but we got a pole that we got braced up that's like this, kind of like this. So NIPSCO, of course, we're waiting on NIPSCO now. They actually sent us the invoice today, actually, and we give that to Virginia already, but for their work and that. So we got to change the electrical around there, and we got to get that on a different pole, and so it's kind of been a mess. Like I said, we got boards propping it and holding it up. We did have an issue with the generator there because it is going to be running on the generator. So Jamie went and checked it, and we had an issue, so he had to order a couple parts for that. He's going to have that all set up. Worst case scenario, if we have to pull a generator there, we can, because while they're doing the work, they're actually going to hook the electric right into the generator. They're going to tie it right in. So that's kind of a big deal to get that taken care of at this time. So we're working on that. The vac trucks actually were out a couple different days when it was warm last week. Sherwin Avenue, we had got a call, and we had like a 4-foot sinkhole. The sidewalk all went in it and everything else. It was a Frontier line that bored through the private lateral. So when we went out and investigated, Adam and Rob went out there, and we ran the camera through our line because we had all kinds of sand in our line, and it was just kind of a mess. We got that repaired, and Adam noticed some water running. He said, "Look at that water," and the water company had a water main break there too. So it was kind of a mess in that area. But we got all our work done, and we're going to invoice Frontier for all the work out there and for our guys and our equipment out there, and the work that Egolf Coates did out there for the emergency repair. We are going to invoice and Frontier, and they said, yeah, that's fine, just to get it done. So we will be sending them an invoice for all the manpower that was out there and the contractor. Other than that, I guess everything else has been going pretty good. So, any questions?
What did that price come to for Egolf?
We don't have it all yet.
Okay.
We still got to get Egolf Coates. So by next board meeting, remind me, and I can give you that, or I could email it to you if you want me to later or something.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. Have you had luck with getting that paid by Frontier in the past?
Timely? I mean, it's been better. The water company is usually the one that we have more issues with. So, but I believe that, like, Surf's been pretty much on top of it. Frontier, like I said, when's the last time we did a Frontier one, Kayla? Do you remember? Yeah, so, before we...
I was gonna say, I think Comcast takes a little longer, and I don't know if they just have more channels to go through, but Surf's very fast.
Yeah.
Frontier's not bad.
And the thing is technically, it's not Surf, and it's really not Frontier, it's their sub. So that's probably another reason it's not actually coming out of their pocket, it would be coming out of the contractors. So that might be another reason why, we get it a little quicker than we normally have in the past. So, but we stay on that. It don't matter. It's, they can, whatever, but we stay on any utility, we stay on and make sure that we receive our payment. So, and then if we have any issues, then we'll talk to the big guy down in the end over there. So, any other questions? Thanks.
All right, that gets us to new business number 1, vacate of easement request at 6375 Central Avenue.
that yours?
Oh, yeah, come on up, or maybe Mr. Hannon, would you like to speak for him?
I'll give you the outline. So this is for the Luke gas station. There's a sanitary sewer that runs on the south side of the property that serves not just the property that there used to be the old Beef Mart lateral, and, you know, there's a sewer that runs through there, and it serves the property to the south, the doctor's office. It's in the way of the proposed improvements for the new gas station. So Luke has prepared a plan to basically relocate the sewer. A portion of it's public. There's some lateral involvement to the property to the south, and the Luke will both tie into this line. So they're proposing to reroute the lateral to the south on the doctor's property, reconstruct the public portion of the sanitary sewer, and then to dedicate an easement over the top of the new sewer route so that they can build their new gas station. So we're fine with it. We've reviewed the plan. Dan's reviewed the plan. It's going to go before DRC for subdivision and all of that, but they want to get this part clear first with you. So has the original easement been vacated?
No, so that's essentially what we're asking.
So,
You know, we need approval to vacate. Yep.
so anyway, we're technically good with it. The only caveat we have is there's a proposal, part of the project will involve relocating a portion of the lateral for their neighbor's property. So whatever you do in terms of accepting the proposed relocation of the easement would be contingent upon the applicant having an agreement with their property to the south to do the work on their property.
That was really going to be my main question, was how, you know, the property owners impacted, you know, can they be like alerted, and, you know, would this interrupt their service in any way for any point of time, and, you know, how do we remedy that?
Right, absolutely. So I'm Dan Tersman with Luke Family of Brands. So the idea, as far as that is concerned, we have been in touch with and in communication with the property owner to the south, and they are in agreement with us doing this. And essentially, there would be any of the new lateral would be through green space on the north end of their property. So it would be very limited disruption, or, you know, disturbance to their property. And we would we've discussed to be able to time out we'd obviously at some point have to disconnect their existing sanitary and connect the new one, but we'd basically have everything kind of run and ready to go, so that would be a quick transition without very minimal impact, and they've agreed to that, so yeah.
Dan, did you have something to say?
Okay, so you're both going to be going to the same manhole, correct?
Yes, well, yeah, into the same.
Dan, would you mind coming up to
same
the,
mine.
hey, Dan, would you mind coming up to the microphone?
Oh, gosh.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm not used to.
Oh, I know, I'm not used to it either. For these meetings, I mean, these meetings used to be so much more informal, and I loved it, but.
Do I
it's
got to
not-
press this button?
No,
too?
that one works
Oh,
automatically.
okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, so you're both going to be in the same line, and it's private, okay?
Okay, right.
What if there's a clog or a break? Do you have any kind of agreement with them on how that's going to work as far as repair or jetting or whatever the case may be, the maintenance?
That's not the plan.
What, okay, did I miss something?
Yeah, the plan is to have.
You're good, we can hear you from there. Yeah.
To have a new public sewer. Then two private laterals will connect to that public sewer, independent of each other. The two private laterals will not
Not going to be shared.
coincide or be shared. So if the doctor's office is having a problem,
So you're going to the manhole in the south.
A doctor's office problem is not a gas station problem, and a gas station
All
problem
right,
is
so
not a
I
doctor's
misunderstood
office
then.
problem.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So this is the existing sanitary,
right,
and it can, currently it's continuing through here. So what we're doing is essentially vacating this portion, downing it out, and building a new manhole clean out here, and then essentially tying in the existing, tying in here to the
independent of each other, tying into the existing public line.
And so the new easement is essentially where the existing easement is, but it's vacating this portion of it and maintaining this.
Okay, I thought the same manhole in that parking lot. No. Okay. All right, then I'm good then.
Sounds like we're good there.
I just was thinking they were going to the same manhole, but you're tying it still independently. Okay. Yep. All right.
So if I heard you right, Mr. Hannon, the recommendation from the engineering is that this fits, like, to approve this, but with the contingency that they make the agreement with the, is it the agreement with the neighbor? Is that the right way to
Their
say it?
neighbor to the south. Yes, we recommend acceptance of vacation of part of the easement as proposed, subject to the applicant having an agreement with the property owner to the south to relocate a portion of their lateral on private property.
That sounds good. Well, I guess, you want to go ahead? Yeah, or,
Is Beef Mart, this is included, your corner? And
The old Beef Mart
you
property
can
is
sit down
part
there
of
and
this
that microphone will
property.
work, yeah.
Yeah. So there are two parcels that essentially we are on the agenda for Plan Commission for final plat, which would be essentially combining the Beef Mart property and then the property that's on the corner of Hamstrom and Central. So Beef Mart's one lot off of that. Our development plan is combining the two of those lots. So part of what this sanitary sewer was originally servicing was Beef Mart. And that, as part of our project, is essentially demolishing and removing the Beef Mart, so that, obviously, that lateral is no longer necessary or required. So the only service that'll be tied on to this line, well, there'll be two services. One will be our new development, and then we'd have to reconnect the existing doctor's office to the south.
Yes, the Beef Mart building will be no longer there.
Correct.
And so it'll just be the doctor.
Correct.
Not like the music school or architecture firm just below the doctor, right?
Right.
That's a different line.
Correct.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve, subject to establishing the easement agreement with the property owner to the south.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That gets us to the attorney service agreement.
So this is an agreement created by Ed Graham, city attorney. It retains me as, or doesn't retain me, it's an attorney fee contract for me as one of the assistant city attorneys to do work for the sanitary and Stormwater approved it earlier today, so the request is sanitary to approve it. Most of the language is the same as last year.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and congratulations. That gets us to engineering proposal, Commonwealth Engineers, Inc.
I would like to, I guess, first state, Mr. Hannon just mentioned to me that number 3 and number 4 are actually the same request on
see.
the agenda. The task order that you have, 2024-03, which is the engineering proposal, is related to the wastewater project that we currently have out for bid. As this board had authorized, there are 4 divisions of work that are currently out for bid: the CIPP, the lift stations, the UV, and the Northside Interceptor. We expect the bids for that project to be in later this month for all 4 divisions. This proposal is being put before this board at the request of Dan and Tracy. This is for services post-bid for those projects. This encompasses construction engineering, resident project representative services, labor standards monitoring, which is required by the funding agency, Build America, Buy America requirements, O&M, manual update, and then also startup assistance. Right now, I've based this proposal on an 18-month construction schedule for the Northside Interceptor, as well as about 18 months of additional
inspection for the other 3 divisions. So it's 2 RPRs for an entire 18 months, and then CE for that same amount of time. Everything that's in this proposal is hourly, and I have worked with Dan, Tracy, and Mr. Hannon to develop this amendment, which is why it's now before you. I would be happy to answer any questions you have about this. One last item before the questions. Everything that's in here is within or below the original budget that we put together with the funding agency. So the funds are allocated and are according to what we expect in the future.
My only question, and I would trust Tracy on this, or Dan, but what we talked about earlier today before this meeting about the thing with the route, none of that's impacted by this or vice versa, right?
No.
No.
But the only other thing I will say is Commonwealth has, with our first SRF, they've done a tremendous job. It's taken a lot of burden off of us in the plant. Right now, everything that I'm getting from SRF for this new one, we haven't even closed on it yet, and they've got tons of questions because there's so many components to it. By having it with one, again, it will take a lot less of our time. Otherwise, me and Dan would have to put a lot of time into it. They did a great job the first time. SRF, everything went really smooth, and I know it will be the same with this. That's why me and Dan and John has asked for this.
Great, well, thank you very much.
I just have one question. I was looking at the last page, and there's a sub-consultant fee of $82,500 for labor standards monitoring. What does that mean?
We employ a group. That proposal is based off of Klein Peter Consulting Group, who would do the labor standards monitoring. They're the same group that did the last labor standards monitoring. It's a specialty service in relation to they're monitoring all of the payrolls and everything that is spent on the project to make sure that it complies with what the government requires for the project for wages. It's a specific requirement of the SRF program, and it's something that's been required more recently. It hasn't always been a requirement. I'd say maybe within the last 5 years that's come up. So Klein Peter Consulting Group would be the group that we would intend to use for the project, and that's what that line item is based on.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve this contract amendment for a total contract amount of $2,738,600.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board.
Did you guys have a chance to look at the claims? Are there any questions on them?
Motion to approve the claims for $303,179.96.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And then, under other business, I was going to ask, Mr. Hannon, do you want to go first?
I have one. We have been working with Tracy and Carl Nelson at the treatment plant to develop a set of bid documents to replace what we affectionately call the scum concentrator. So the specs are in pretty good shape, and we'd like to tonight, we still have work to do with Tracy and Carl in refining the specs, but we'd like to get authorization to advertise the project. We anticipate that bids will be opened at the May meeting, so we would ask you to authorize public advertising for the scum concentrator project. That's going to be locally funded through Tracy's capital budget.
All right, I'll make that motion to allow you to move forward and then to authorize the bidding of the project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then, Pete, did you want to come up? I got your name right. Is it Pete? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was so nervous I got the name wrong. I'm pretty sure I knew. I invited Pete to come because he came to my office with a question, a situation, and I wasn't familiar the best route. And so after talking with Tracy, we thought the best place for him to start would be here, and then maybe with legal advisement, we might be able to know what to do from there. That sounded bad, but it's just, if you want to go ahead, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like August of 2003, a house was demolished, unexpectedly, but it's been an ongoing project, and there's been no, like, plumbing in the house. And the city's been charging me for the sewer, like, for the past 20 years, with no sewer in the house.
Well,
So,
as you noted, you bought the house, I believe, in August of, it was 2003, right?
yeah,
And you're saying that it hasn't been using the sewer in that time, but to my knowledge, you never went to the city to get that turned off? Is that right?
they said if I was hooked up to the street, I got to pay the bill. And I said, well, I'm not using the service, I shouldn't be paying. So they sent me the bill every month. When I didn't pay it, they put it on the property taxes, and I've been paying it for 20 years, and, Well, instead of reimbursement, if they could just put credit towards future bills when I get the house completed, that'd be good.
Well, I think the challenge there is that when you came to my office, you were talking about the fact that you wanted it to be disconnected and not have to pay the bill, because normally we don't reimburse if something's been being paid, but as you've come and you're looking to no longer be able to make payments on it, that's really what I think we can do as a city, I say that because of what you said in my office, versus what you're saying now. We were talking about trying to make sure that we could get you disconnected and then not have to pay the bill going forward.
That would be good, but it would be nice to get some credit for, like, all the payments that I was forced to pay when I wasn't using the service.
I think the trick, yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you why it's taking you so long to come to the city?
When I bought the house, I wasn't planning on tearing it down. It was a HUD house, and they had just rigged it all up so I couldn't see the mold. It was just too unhealthy, it had to be demolished. The water has not been turned on since August of 2003.
Right, so why have you waited so long to come to this? You're asking for 20-plus years.
Because the sewer department demanded that I pay even with the water turned off. I said, that's not right.
Who did you talk to? You talked to somebody in 2020 or 23, 2003?
Yes,
With the utilities, with the mayor's office, with whom?
the utilities,
Can you tell me who you talked to?
whoever was in charge. And I was just there last month, and, they called code enforcement on me just because I was asking about the bill.
What's the property address?
2936 May Street.
So you've owned it since '03,
Yes.
and you really haven't done any work on it since '03?
It's just not done on the inside.
So, I need to do some research.
So I was thinking, because simply put, what's being told here, it's not exactly what I heard in my office. I'm not saying anything bad on that. It's just to say that, you can't just not flush your toilet for, 20 years and then say you want the bill repaid, But I think that that's the part we got to figure out,
Yeah, I frankly need to look at some case law, some legal theories, and then investigate some of the facts as well. I do have a concern that that's taken so long, but I'm willing to work with Pete and try to get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
If you could stick around and give me your phone number when I don't want you to do it on the record.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I do have a,
Could you come back, though, and state your full name and address?
That's Pete Bennington, 2936 May Street, Portage.
That's your address where you're living, or that's the house itself?
That's the house.
Where do you live?
Right next door.
Can you give us an address?
It's 5247 Sherwin.
Thank you.
Sir,
Dan?
I have a couple questions, if you don't mind, real quick. So you tore down in 2003. So you went and got a permit to tear the house down from the city, correct?
Yes.
Well, and it wasn't torn down. There's still the structure there. Is that right?
One room, one part of the house was saved, the rest was torn down.
Oh, so part of it was tore down and then reclosed? Okay, so your sanitary line, is it still going inside the enclosed structure?
A couple feet of it.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure we're not getting infiltration coming in and water coming in that pipe if it wasn't capped off.
No,
You know,
it's-
that's what I'm just trying to figure out, you know, because I want to make sure that
Right.
that's still sound and we're not getting water that's coming into the
Right.
system.
Well, that
That's-
was my question is it capped off? Or was it capped off?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I just
we
want
got
to
to
make sure on
investigate that, and I trust our legal to look into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I just have one comment, and maybe a question. It's just related to the city's codes of ordinances regarding appeals on a bill. I mean, there's probably a time frame when that has to happen, and 20 years later is,
Definitely a time frame for it to happen, and the bills have been paid, for the most part, they've been attached to the property tax bill and paid to the property taxes, the lien process, so, yeah, I've got some real concerns, but I want to stay. But I'll look at that.
Thank you.
Motion to table?
That makes sense to me, yeah.
second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any other business to come? I believe we're good. If anybody wants to motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye.